Here I've transitioned into my warm room with my orchids that are on the shelves and also on the table on the side of me. Here is where I do all of my repotting videos, unboxing videos, and where I work in the morning with my plants that need help. And as you see on the table, the one that I'm working on today is the one from my husband's work. We haven't given it a name yet, but she is soaking or marinating in her help me juice. So there we have Miss Recovery Plant. We have the 9 little monkeys that have dropped down to 5 on those back shelves. They are most of these ones over here are the Phalaenopsises with 1 roots that are attempting to be rescued by me via a semi-water culture or a water culture. But on the top shelf, we have a few that are doing their survival via a little bit of moss. This one is a Pacific Paradox Petite. We have Miss Melinda Marie Blue Fairy. Remember we did an inspirational video on her? She still inspires me. Look at all those roots. I put a stick and a clamp to hold that straight up. But she's doing well. She is a Dendrobium unicum, Tangerine Tango crossed with a Tangerine Jewel. And she is very tiny. She does have some root growing on there. And there's one in the back that has grown on. And I just keep putting more moss up and around her. She seems to like that. Buttercups, Dendrobium buttercups. There are 2 of these in my collection. One I have done up in a bark mix, bark perlite, and she's got some roots going on down in there. Let's see if you can see them. So I just wanted to pamper her a little bit more. I'll show you her twin in just a second. 3 Dendrobiums. 2 on the outside are the same and the one in the middle is different. The one in the middle keeps growing that root, and it's probably another one underneath it. So I think the one in the middle likes to be watered a lot, so I spray her. But on the 2 on the end, I think they want to go into a winter rest. So I'm at a quandary. We have a plant that probably won't do well on the indoors of my house. Todd's Tropical has one growing outside in Florida, and he says it's massive and huge, and it's in a big pot with tomato cage all around it. Well, we'll see what we can conjure up with this one, but I don't have hopes that it will get big like that. But I was just so inspired by the uniqueness of the cane and the plant itself. It grows, they're getting pretty solid and thick. The other one was right here. Do you see it? Yeah, it rotted completely out, so I threw it out. But I spray these roots daily. There is one growing in the back there. This is the Miss Joaquin Douglas. Grows differently than the rest of them, and so I'm thinking indoors. She won't survive, but I'll enjoy her while I can. We have more Dendrobiums, which are my favorite, hanging in the back. There is a Dendrobium nobile in the corner, and as you can see, she is still growing her canes because of all the hormones she was given. She was purchased, I think this last November, maybe October, from the grocery store. So she is all kinds of confused, and she won't go into a winter rest this year because she decided she was just going to grow more canes. And that's what I'll let her do. Right next to her is the one we opened up the other day, the Tarantula Sweet Orange. Look at those colors. So pretty. And the second branching spike has one that's opened up, and there'll be more that come along shortly. Very, very pretty. And of course the non-orchid in the room, we won't tell her she's not an orchid because, you know, she just thinks she is. Kind of like one of those wild animals adopted by another pack of animals. They just think they're one of them. She's in my orchid room. and a Dendrobium that was in orchid room number 1 that was cooler, the cool mist room, but she kept growing those spikes at the bottom, growing like the one behind it with those canes. They are confused and they just want to grow, so treat them like they are in growing. So that's what I'm going to do. This one in the front that you're looking at, this Nobly, is a pink version. The one in the back is a white version. On my top shelf over here, I have some Phalaenopsises that have already bloomed and some new plants. Let me get a little stool and get a little bit closer. It was much easier to bring them down than me to try to balance on a stool and act like a fool and fall on my ass. So here we are with the little buttercup twin to the one that's in bark. This one is in lava rock. And she got a drink yesterday. Of course, it has the hole in there and it flushes out. And I think she likes that. So I'm going to leave her be and we'll see if the bark or the lava rock is a preferred medium for that one. Here we have this beautiful, beautiful one we unboxed the other day, the Orchid, and I can't pronounce the middle name, so I'll just let you see it. And she is doing beautiful, growing those buds. Now she'll keep growing, and these will get longer and longer, and those buds, of course, being at the end, will drop down and hang, and they'll be pendulant, and I can't wait. But she's shiny and healthy and happy. And moving on over here, we have the Zygopetulum that we bought at the grocery store, which I am very surprised it survived this long, because I've been told Zygopetulums are very finicky. And the one I had the year prior was very finicky and lasted a couple of months. Here she is in the clay leca. It's dry right now, but she got a big drinking of water yesterday, and she does have a little reservoir of water, and there is some cotton fibers going up and watering these leca pellets. I have another one arriving in a couple of days. We'll do an unboxing, and if I can figure out the magic behind keeping these Zygopetulums in healthy growing and flowering state, boy, would that be a treat for me. I have heard from Michael McCarthy that they like a little more light than all the websites suggest. So she's on my top shelf. Gets the light that bounces off the walls from my Mars Hydro light that's across the way, and she has been happy-go-lucky. So there they are, back in their homeland spots, doing what they do best, soaking up the lights. And here we have a beautiful Phalaenopsis from the grocery store that I bought over the holiday and did a video with you guys. She is still doing wonderfully well. Here is the Dendrobium microchip that was doing very poorly, and I put her in a glass jar with beads and I set her on top of it, and there was water always at the bottom of the beads and the humidity was high, and she began to grow new canes, new leaves, and I was very excited. And the only thing I didn't like about that setup was that she kept wobbling around, and I assumed most plants don't like to wobble around. They like to feel secure and snug. So we did her up with leca. Just about a week ago, I put the leca beads around her, packed her in. She has some cotton fiber strings in there. There's, my finger's down here, you can't see. There is water in her reservoir. She got a good drink yesterday. So as you can see, the green new shoots coming up, and then through the leca beads, I tried to not squish anything while I put it around her. And I think that we will have success, but you won't know if you don't try. So here we are, trying and trying. And I have fully impacted that beautiful thing in moss. She loves the wetness. Now this is funny because my husband said, "That's all you got? She gave you that little flower?" I'm like, "What? It's a cute little flower." He said, all that plant for that?" So I am hoping that there is more to come than just that. But there's a touch of pink, there's yellow, there's a little frill at the top. She's really dainty and cute. Kind of reminds me of popcorn. And I imagine, like this one blasted when she came out of the box and came into my environment. Didn't do anything. But I imagine, if you get real close, you can see, let me try to focus, that it looks like there's other arms that are gonna bump up, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and form more of those little flowers. So I'm hoping that's what she does. It'll be a mystery, but I'll let you know how it goes. So I have 2 pink Sonias. One was mine that I loved, and one was my mama's because she kept wanting to steal mine. So she took it to her house, fell in love with it, loved it, and then when all the flowers died, she brings it back to my house so I can nurture it till the next season when she flowers again. And we also have a pack lead, Dendrobium pack lead, quite similar in appearance and the way it grows. Now I'm noticing some yellowing on these leaves here, and I'm not certain if that means she's getting too much light, too much water, or not enough minerals. So I'll keep my eye on her. This little one in the front did have scale, and it was my only plant I ever noticed having scale in my house, and she is a small plant, so I'm assuming it came like that. But I will never know. I don't really know. Catalianthe, SLC Dorothy Elliott, a fuchsia fire. This leaf has always been this yellow shade since she's had the scale, but she is attempting to grow this one. I don't know if she'll make it, but we'll give her a fighting chance. We'll let her stay. Mollianum. So Dendrobium Gold Star times a Dendrobium Mollianum. And she's down at the bottom. She might be receiving too much light. She is a light yellow. I haven't had that many years of experience, and with experience comes knowledge. With time comes knowledge. With trial and error comes knowledge. With failures we get our knowledge. With successes we get our knowledge. So we just keep plugging on and doing the best that we can with the information that we have at the moment. Here's the other Orchids, Oriata. Hasn't been as healthy as the one that with all the spikes in the blooms. And the bottom leaf, we lost one to yellowing yesterday. It was in between here and the one up. This one looks reddish, like she got sunburned back before she arrived to us here. But there is the roots growing on in there. And on my wall of hope, I have those 2 plus some of these others hanging. And the bigger ones, they probably should go in a winter rest. I just don't have any more room in my cool room right now, so they stay here. This one with the roots, she still likes her water, so I give her, she does have a lot of green on her, so I give her some water spraying, usually daily. It sounds crunchy because I haven't watered her today. She's a Dendrobium Nestor. And her co-part in crime, this one. Then down here we have some that actually they're doing fine. This is the one with the long name. Remember we practiced that one? And I can't remember. Glycocentron gokungsii, something like that. She went with me on vacation when she was brand new. She still has that root, but I haven't seen any more produced. And if I drop her, I will be upset. But it looks like she has, let me show you. It looks like she might be, she's always going to be a small plant. If you didn't know that, I'm sorry. She's not a baby plant trying to get bigger. She is always going to be more of a miniature plant. And these leaves have plumped up since she's been in my care. Here we have another one that will always stay miniature. Those roots turn green as soon as I water her. And she's had this spike and it's grown longer, but let me see if we can focus. It's grown longer, but it's starting to get more yellow on the end. Not certain what that means. So many things to learn. Here we have an Ascosynthropus pussulea. There she is. Another one of the small things, little things, is Dendrobium lotojesii. She's continuing to do her growing. She loves to be watered daily, and it is time for watering. This one, I just pulled a leaf off that was getting spotty, so I'm wondering if there is a virus that was growing on that leaf. But she does have a bud, not a bud, excuse me, she has a new leaf growing at the bottom. This is Dendrobium parishii. I decided to bring this beauty down. This is the one that I just have been pampering and loving. When she was purchased, there was a whole bunch of little ones like her, and I just didn't know what to do, and they all died. I think I had like 6 of them. And she hung on and said, "Come on, Michelle, figure me out." So I have, I think, figured out that she likes the highlight and watered maybe once a week and then done. She's got that growth on that root that's been growing all year long. And she is in a bark perlite mix at the bottom. And every time a new root grows, I put moss around the top. And she likes the cool crock here of ceramic around her roots, I believe, because she's always seems to be happy. So I was a little leery about moving her from her spot she's been in for a year back up to that shelf, but I wanted her to have maximum light as possible. And since I moved the light source, I had to move her. Hopefully it won't set her back too much. Let's put her back on the shelf. Back into where she sits. So I moved her closer so we can see her. She does have a new growth. Can you guys see that? With the lights, it's hard to know what you can see. This one was a Shinfeng orange. And in the front, I have 2 Maxillaria tenuifolias. The big one in the top I call Maximus, and I call her Maxine. And where they've been for the whole year, they have produced lots of more green, but they have not produced any flowers. I have yet to smell the coconut orchid. So I'm hoping under the Mars light, we might produce some flowers. I have more Wall of Hope hanging ones. I'm not having much success with the yellow birds. There is this little new growth, but as you can see, the top one is wrinkling. I had to throw a companion that was a full-size pot away. That's an elusive plant for me, knowing what to do with it. This tiny thing has a root underneath there. You can see it when she's just been watered, but like I say, I haven't watered yet today. And she is a Dariana Charm Blue Moon, which hopefully, maybe in 5 years, I'll see something. I have 2 of these. I'm beginning to think how many as I've had have died or done nothing. Here's the other one. It's got a little tiny growth in the front. Not very impressed. I'm beginning to wonder if for $17 if I should just buy another one. In the back we have here, who do we have? We have a Kelly Lee. She's never bloomed for me. I hope to see some blooms one day. In the far back we have a Dendrobium Norma Jackson. And on the second shelf, hopefully she gets a little enough light, but yet enough to grow. In the front here we have another Laelia type Cattleya with a sheath that's growing. I don't see her name tag in the pot. There's a good chance I misplaced it one day. We have another Dendrobium back here. I can't tell the name. Oh, there she is. Have a name tag. She is a Hawaiian Punch from Kalapana Orchids, and I have not seen her bloom yet. She's still a little small. And then we have some Phalaenopsis attempting to do their thing. I have this Dendrobium, which I don't remember the name. Trick or treat, another one. Look at this. My trick or treat. Come on, focus. My LC trick or treat, which again is by Hauserman. I put a lot of money into that company. Has never thrived, never done well. The leaves look dry and crinkly. They had these little nibbles taken out before I got it, and look at the growth in the middle. Kind of sad. It's coming out brown, coming out half yellow, coming out green. Not good. And then I have some more of my Phalaenopsis just trying to do their thing. And speaking of doing their things, I have to zip off to the dentist for a broken tooth. I get to go get my broken tooth fixed. And with that, I say goodbye.